Well, it's another example of, self-flagellation, isn't it? and look, of course, in the past, we didn't necessarily get things right in terms of the media and representation of minority groups. But you learn from that and you move forward. But this spectacle of people constantly thinking they have to don sackcloth and ashes and go in for some kind of penance, I think is just tedious, to be honest, and it is now bordering on virtue signalling. And I just wonder as well, Arlene, actually, I think in some respects at the moment we're probably oversteering because, of course, regardless of your background, regardless of your colour and your religion, there should be no barriers on you in terms of rising to the top of your chosen career, in terms of getting on in the media or entertainment and so on. But it seems to me now that if you watch television dramas and adverts and so on, that we're almost now over-representing certain minority groups because we are so desperate to prove our credentials on this point. I use the example of the series about the Larkins based on the Darling Buds of May, which was set in 1950s in rural Kent. And was on ITV last year. It could have been set in Islington in 2021. And in the end, I think it just becomes a bit of a moral lecture and people feel that they're just being patronised. So the focus for me should always be challenge any barriers that prevent people from aspiring to the top of their profession, but don't patronise and don't morally lecture. And I think with the Friends example, that's the kind of territory we're getting into at the moment.
But it's also the hindsight issue. Here's a lady who wrote a very funny, I enjoyed it, Friends sitcom 25 years ago. And now she's going, oh, I should have known better 25 years ago. I should have had somebody in from an ethnic, diverse background. I mean, when you write something and it's there and you sell it to the studio, now you have to say, oh, hold on a second, I should have put somebody in. I mean, to me, that's tokenism of the worst kind.
And I think there's a real danger, and I think we do it all the time in this country, where we apply yesterday's standards to the modern age.
Yeah.
Now, once you get into that game, you are on a very, very slippery slope, because the truth is that social mores and cultural norms change all of the time.
Yeah.
And there will be things that we say and we do now, which in 20 years people will find incredible that we say and we did, and, will say, well, that was clearly offensive. Now, we don't necessarily know that now because we don't know what the social mores and cultural norms are going to be in 20 years.
It's the hindsight piece. I mean, and we'll not get into the 1970s comedy routine as well, because we could be in very difficult ground there.